Hello, welcome to Module 1, History of Advertising, 1800s to 1955. P.T. Barnum, the founder and performer in Barnum and Bailey Circus, was known as a master advertiser. P.T. Barnum found that after having large paintings strewn on the side of buildings close to where his show was performing, helped to fill his circus top on show nights. P.T. Barnum didn't just stop at paintings. He had hired musicians, street performers, and anything that gave a reference to give the public a taste of what to expect in his circus. It was not that advertising was a new concept in 1840, but it was P.T. Barnum's ability to understand his audience that allowed him to be seen as a master advertiser. The history of advertising dates back to Pompeii in the 6th and 7th century BC, where advertisements were painted on the side of buildings. Pamphlet advertising was from the 1600s, newspaper advertising from the 18 and 1900s, and the modern advertising of today. With the invention and availability of the movable press, advertising became much more common in the 19th century, as seen in the first newspaper in America to have a reasonably sized circulation called the New York Sun in 1833. The New York Sun featured advertising in their daily papers. The advertisements brought in revenue which offset the cost of the paper. The fee for the paper was a penny, which is where the term penny press came from. Many more papers followed suit, and the penny press was born. The rise of magazine advertising, 1920s. Luckily for advertisers, the profession took a turn for the better with the use of advertisements in magazines. Magazines changed the public's perception of advertisements from lowbrow to helpful, with the association of the advertisement with the magazine medium. That was enough to change the public's perceptions. McClure's magazine is a great example of an early magazine that used advertisements to lower the price of their subscription, so much so they were able to increase circulation, thus charging more for advertising and less for the subscription. Journal magazine is featured here. Hectic Shopping Girl. The cover depicting a well-dressed woman carrying a bag of groceries. Here is an example of one of the first Cosmo magazine covers. The woman is dressed eloquently, but oftentimes the magazines ended up more in the rural areas of the country than in the big cities. Introducing brand names, 1910 to 1950. If you were to go to the local store in the early 1800s, even into the early 1900s, to buy a product, you would get a generic barrel or spool without much packaging. As packaging and advertisements became more prevalent, consumers began to ask for brands by their names, and thus the brand name was born. The advertisements showed people using products, which helped solidify public trust. The advertisements began to use bright colors. The agencies hired talented writers that created snappy slogans and promised the consumer a number of great results. January 10, 1927, the Old Dutch Cleanser was featured in McCall's magazine, Helpful Cleanliness. The advertisement for Old Dutch Cleanser depicts a neat suburban street with a Dutch-style mascot from the can going into each house. The public no longer went into a music store and asked for a turntable. They asked for a Zenith turntable. As seen in this ad, how the name brands became synonymous with the product that they were known for. Creativity becomes key, 1920 to 1950. Because advertising became more and more essential to the publication's revenue and to companies' national success, advertisements became expensive. Because advertising became so expensive and it was a great added expense to companies' budget, they needed the ad to be eye-catching. Thus, the creativity in advertisements was born. Writers, artists, and songwriters were in high demand. The more creative the ad, the more it stuck in the consumer's mind. It's springtime in chilly South America. In 1940, this ad for transportation and travel, Pan American Grace Airways spent upwards of $10,000 to have this ad featured in Newsweek magazine. Writers also spent time trying to come up with catchy slogans. Will you become an unloved parent? Look at the little boy as he stands in the corner. You can't help but want to read what follows that text. Celebrity product endorsements, 1930 to 1955. Along with brand names, companies realized that having celebrities promote their products in a form of product endorsement attaches the product to the well-liked celebrity, thus giving the product instant credibility, helping the public to view the product as safe, effective, and liked by popular people. Many people in the public didn't like product endorsements, and many of the hosts didn't either. Here is a host, Arthur Godfrey. He did product endorsements like Lipton tea and Lipton soup on his TV and radio quiz show. It was common knowledge of advertisers that what Arthur Godfrey promoted sold. He was also known for marketing Chesterfield cigarettes. You may recognize the celebrity in the next advertisement, Marilyn Monroe. This ad was featured in Life magazine. In 1952, Marilyn Monroe featured here is showing the most glamorous makeup from Westmore's of Hollywood, True Glow Liquid Makeup. Advertisements were all money and glamour. There was also a dangerous and dishonest side to advertising, and the FTC was born. Because of the strong reliance on advertisers' money to pay for the circulation and production of the magazines, it was not uncommon for advertisers to push controversial advertisements. The advertisers did not stop at simply wanting misleading or dangerous advertisements, but they also pushed to have particular stories written in the magazines to sway popular opinion. Here is a dangerous advertisement by Camel. The caption reads, "More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette." Advertisements were all money and glamour. There was also a dangerous and dishonest side to advertising, and the FTC was born. Because of the strong reliance on advertisers' money to pay for the circulation and production of the magazines, it was not uncommon for advertisers to push controversial advertisements. The advertisers did not stop at simply wanting misleading or dangerous advertisements, but they also pushed to have particular stories written in the magazines to sway popular opinion. Next, the advertisement states, "So the harder a wife works, the cuter she looks." They're pushing Kellogg's Pep vitamins. The government did not sit idly by while companies hoping to strike it rich using misleading advertisements. During the early 1900s, the government put in place the Pure Food and Drug Law Act in 1906. This way, it established guidelines to protect the public. Some of the misleading ad claims were very dangerous. With the power of advertising came the danger, and as time went on, swindlers with phony companies making phony claims had put the public in a compromised position, and the Food and Drug Law in 1906 had not counted on the new publication structures that amplified advertising. In 1914, the FTC was formed with a goal of protecting the public, but it wasn't until 1938 that the FTC had the right to fully protect the public's interest and not just competitor claims of advertising misuse. Once the FTC was formed, dangerous advertisements became much more uncommon, and magazines stopped printing them in fear of being fined, shut down, and having larger, more wholesome advertisers leaving the magazine.